between the hours of midnight and morning, every night, your mind builds a world, unasked, populated with people you've never seen outside of dreams and impossible events. For a moment, you believe every impossible thing that happens in it. When you wake soon after, most of it is gone, dismissed, forgotten, just a dream, a hiccup of the sleeping brain. Carl Jung spent 50 years arguing that this dismissal was a mistake, that dreams contained valuable information from other, stranger places in the human psyche. Messages not written in any ordinary language. And so he developed this, a set of tools for decoding, understanding, and even answering your own nightly messages. We've been talking about your shadow, the parts of yourself you banish to your unconscious, and your persona, the mask you allow the world to see. Tonight, we're going to explore a place in your mind where these two concepts collide every night, without your permission, the dream world. By the end of this episode, you'll have a simple system for decoding your own dreams in the style of Carl Jung, one that works even on the first dream you remember after waking. Let's begin. Part 1. Why Jung broke with Freud over dreams. 1:15 to 5 o'clock. Jung's theories of dream interpretation didn't come from thin air. To understand his thinking, we need to first understand the man and the towering figure who cast a long shadow over his early career, Sigmund Freud. At the most basic level, Freud saw dreams as disguised wishes. Every dream expressed some sort of impulse the dreamer would find unacceptable upon waking, and so, according to Freud's method of dream analysis, the interpreter had to remove these disguises to find the latent content of the dream, the actual wish behind it. Jung worked closely with Freud for many years, and he largely agreed with his theories at first. The more he read patients' dreams and his own, the more he began to suspect that there was something fundamentally wrong with this approach, particularly the idea that dreams were primarily a mechanism for wish fulfillment. Jung's objections to this theory were simple and profound. He argued that, in order to interpret dreams correctly, one had to approach them from a different framework. While Freud saw dreams as disguises, Jung saw them quite simply as communications. From the depths of the unconscious mind, messages encoded in strange symbols, delivered to a receiver who can barely understand them. This subtle difference is critically important to the practice of dream interpretation. If you believe a dream is a disguised wish, you will interpret it one way. If you believe it contains valuable information, you'll interpret it completely differently. As a communications method, dreams operate in the same way that water communicates with a fish. It simply swims around in it. A dreamer who has been particularly emotional or controlling while awake, for instance, will encounter a dream containing chaotic or controlling imagery, water, perhaps, and the ability to swim or the inability to keep from drowning, as compensation for the emotions they weren't able to express while awake. The same dreamer, having spent weeks being exceptionally polite and compliant, could find themselves in a dream where they must confront a particularly controlling and rude character again, a balancing mechanism to compensate for a lack of these behaviors during the day. Jung's arguments against Freud's interpretation of dreams were rooted in practice as much as theory. Later in his life, Jung began recording his own dreams, thousands of them, and analyzing them with the same techniques he used for his patients. The more he did this, the more he found that there was an element of communication in almost every dream, a kind of message from the dreamer's unconscious mind. That process, he argued, should be the foundation of dream interpretation. Perhaps the most famous and most misunderstood of Carl Jung's teachings are the ideas of the collective unconscious and archetypes. At the simplest level, Jung's theories hold that beneath your personal psyche is another, collective psyche shared by all humans, and that this collective unconscious contains archetypes, recurring motifs and themes embedded in the psyche of every human being, no matter culture or background. Later in life, Jung regretted ever speaking about the collective unconscious, a theory that few people were likely to take seriously. But he continued to believe that patterns and familiar motifs were deeply, intrinsically linked to the human psyche. He even believed, correctly, in many ways, that these patterns could be used as a guide to understand both dreams and waking life. You do not need to believe in a collective unconscious to benefit from the following information. You may think of these motifs as simply recurring patterns in human life. Whether they emerge from an overarching collective psyche or simply from familiar human experiences of life, death, love, loss, and change, These patterns are deeply ingrained and useful to understanding dreams. Let's look at some of the most common dream archetypes with brief, simple definitions. The shadow, your undesirable traits and behaviors, often manifested in a same-sex character who pursues or attempts to harm the dreamer. The anima/animus, a mysterious or intriguing member of the opposite sex, who often reflects the dreamer's suppressed qualities that they do not often exercise in real life. The wise old figure, a mentor or guide, who often appears in dreams when the dreamer must make an important decision or who gives cryptic but truthful advice to the dreamer when they most need it. The trickster, a disruptive figure who appears to cause trouble, steal items, or change the course of the dream. The child, a young child or an image of oneself as a child, often reflecting new beginnings, new opportunities, or new skills the dreamer has the potential to gain. Keep in mind that few, if any, of these figures appear in dreams on their own, and that all of them can reflect deeper meanings beyond the descriptions above. The trickster, for example, is often seen as simply a source of annoyance in a dream, but they serve an important function as a disruption to overly rigid or careful planning. Likewise, the mysterious anima or animus figure may reflect the dreamer's suppressed qualities, but they often appear as an object of pursuit in the dream, an unattainable ideal who reflects what the dreamer wishes to be, rather than who they are. It's also important to remember that most dreams operate similarly to improvisational theater. The dreamer's subconscious mind is putting on a production, and these figures are merely the cast. Each one has a role, but that role is defined by the dreamer and their particular needs and desires. There may be an overarching storyline, but it's best to think of a dream as an ongoing conversation between the cast of characters, rather than a rigid, pre-written script. Speaking of dream dictionaries, it's worth addressing a common issue with commercial interpretations of dreams. Jung himself argued that most dream interpretation is fundamentally flawed, particularly when it comes to dictionary definitions of dreams, that is, lists of symbols and their supposed real-world meanings. There is a fundamental problem with this system, rooted in years of practice observing patients' dreams, and it relates to the nature of symbols themselves. In essence, the same symbol can have completely different meanings to different people, based on their personal history. A snake in a dream might represent transformation to an anxious, retiring person, while the same dream symbol might reflect creativity and fertility to a boisterous, outgoing person. Likewise, a dream about losing teeth might relate to fears of growing older to one type of dreamer and selfishness to another. Jung's process of dream interpretation, known as amplification, focused on asking the dreamer to describe the personal associations of every symbol that appears in their dream, before exploring universal themes and connections. This means that the most important tool in dream interpretation is not a dictionary. It's a question. Specifically, it's a question asked to yourself about what the dream means to you. Ask yourself these questions about the vivid symbols that appear in your dreams. What do they remind you of? What associations do you have with them? Pay particular attention to any intense emotional reactions you may have. If a particular symbol or image evokes strong feelings of fear, happiness, or anger, it's likely to have symbolic meaning in your dream. Ask yourself these questions and explore these associations, and you'll have a much deeper understanding of your own dreams and their meanings. Two people can have strikingly similar dreams and draw completely different conclusions from them, since both are thinking about the same symbols in completely different ways. Let's put some of this theory to practical use. Here's a 5-step system for decoding your own dreams, in the style of Carl Jung himself. You can use it with either your next dream or a dream you already remember. 1. Write it down as soon as possible. Like all natural processes, dreams degrade rapidly as soon as you wake, so it's crucial to write down any details you remember as soon as possible. Write down everything you remember, no matter how vague. It's far easier to sort through these fragments later than it will be to try to remember them once you've left the dream space entirely. 2. Focus on emotions before events. After writing down whatever you remember, revisit the dream in your mind. Focus first on the emotions it evoked. Was it frightening, happy, confusing, sad? These emotions and impressions are often some of the easiest aspects of a dream to recall, and they can be invaluable when decoding a dream's meaning. 3. Pick a vivid image or event. Choose one particular scene, event, or symbol that stands out to you, one that you described while writing down the dream. Focus on that image and think about it. What does it remind you of? What associations do you have with it? Pay particular attention to any intense emotional reactions you may have. If a particular part of the dream reminds you of a particular person, place, or thing, write that down. This is an essential step in decoding a dream, so don't skip it. 4. Ask what attitude or behavior in waking life the dream might balance. Review the dream and recall the attitudes and behaviors you've been displaying in real life. Has been particularly controlling or chaotic lately? Have you been exceptionally polite and passive-aggressive? Ask yourself if the events and images in the dream might serve to balance these out. This can be far more informative than you might expect. You may recognize this as an application of Jung's theory of dreams as compensation for waking behaviors. 5. Ask what action the dream wants you to take. Dreams don't always merely reflect and balance. They often indicate, as well. The easiest way to apply this principle is to think about the dream as a message. What message might it contain? What action should you take based on that message? This is the step most people forget. And yet, it's one of the most powerful ways to use dream interpretation. If you keep having dreams in which a part of you, a shadow self, if you will, is expressing unacceptable or undesirable behaviors, it may be a sign that you need to let more of that shadow into your waking life. Ask yourself where, in your daily life, you could embrace a more controlling attitude or a more aggressive stance in a particular area. Apply that system to your next dream, or, for the most immediate application, the dream you just finished watching this video in, and see what you can discover. Every night, some deeper, stranger part of you builds you a world out of air and makes it real for long enough for you to see it. Strange people walk out of old patterns no one can explain, impossible things happen, all in a place no one has been outside of sleep. And every morning, almost all of it is gone, discarded, dismissed, just a dream you tell yourself. Jung spent his life arguing that we throw away something valuable when we do that, something special, something worth paying attention to. Not something supernatural, not gods or monsters or spirits, just another kind of communication, one we forget how to understand. And so he created this, a set of tools for understanding and decoding your own nightly messages. There's one more thing you should know before we close, a small caveat that will help you avoid disappointment with this system. Not all dreams are messages. Jung included this caveat himself when developing these tools. Most of the time, your unconscious mind is simply performing its usual maintenance, sorting through your memories and rehearsing conversations from the day for later recall. There is no deeper meaning to be uncovered in every dream, no secret code waiting to be cracked. The practice is designed to allow you to discover the ones that do contain meaning, so that you can pay particular attention to them, not to force meaning onto every dream, no matter what. So here's my question to you for tonight, before you fall asleep tonight, perhaps, and have a dream. If this video has changed the way you think about your dreams at all, what would you say it has changed? And if nothing else, tell me what this particular dream you've just seen has come to tell you. I read every comment, and every one of them shapes what this channel does. See you next time, for a look at parts of yourself you only see when it's dark out.